Okay, well, the shaper's out in front. When I first saw that thing, I said, well, that's going to make a nice counterweight for the mill. My milling head out back. So, shaper head out front. Quite the piece. All right, let's get this show on the road. Welcome to Bar Z. My name's Stan. And today we're going to work on a form tool for one of our friends, Mr. I.L. Gopher, which is Illinois Gopher. I'm not going to use your real name. I know your real name over on Facebook, but I'm not going to use it on YouTube without your permission, and I don't have it. Basically, we need to make a form tool, kind of a broach. We're gonna drill a round hole, and then we want to create a form, you know, like a tap handle, like this. Okay, so that's a pretty simple form, teardrop shape. All we want to do is take that and cut this section out right here. So we're going to make a form tool for Mr. I.L. Gopher, and I've already done it. I'm shooting this last because I forgot to shoot an intro. And this is your result, and this was the tool. But let's get into it, and we'll get a little farther and get a little deeper into it. And we're using the surface grinder to do it. Some guys say, hey, where's your hand grinding skills? I've already had my hand grinding skills, and I hate hand grinding and matching angles and stuff. Surface grinder is really easy. So, and I'm into easy. I love easy. So let's dig into it and see what we're going to do with this tool. Okay, I got it chucked up, and I actually started kissing it with a grinder, and I go, I don't have the camera turned on. I don't even have the camera set up. So we're back, and I'm going to show you where I've gotten to this point. I've got it chucked up on the square, and we're gonna grind this section round. This is a 5/16 square, so the best you're gonna possibly do is 5/16 round, and you'll probably still have some flat spots. But the way I'm gonna use the little tiny Noga, and there's a little flat spot down here on the carriage that I can just barely get in on. And pardon my hand. And the way I do it is you'll bring the carriage in like this, get your part in flat, and this takes a while to get this indicated. And get your needle as flat as you can, and tighten down on there just so you get a reading, and then you can slide off and on. And we're going to find our low. So I'm going to move the chuck around until I find my lowest number. And then I'm going to adjust that into 0. Alright, so right now when I turn the chuck slightly, my lowest number should read 0. Which I'm almost there. Raise it up just a skosh. Alright, so my lowest number there is 0. I'm going to pull the carriage back. I'm going to turn it 180 degrees, and I'm going to come back in again, and then I'm going to turn again and see what my lowest number is there. So my lowest number there is plus a half thou. And this works on rectangular parts too. If your part is rectangular and not perfectly square, you're getting it indexed top and bottom. Okay, here's 90 degrees out. So my lowest number there is minus 1 thou. Turn 180 degrees. Come back in, and my lowest number there is a half a thou. So that's how you dial in. You dial it in until they're equal to each other, 180 degrees apart. I'm measuring here, and I'm measuring here. And at that point, it doesn't matter whether your part is perfectly square or rectangular or whatever. You know you've got it centered properly. So let me finish dialing this in. And we're going to use this big nasty aluminum oxide wheel to do all the rough in work. Then we're going to change over to a ruby wheel and make the final cut. And we'll go from there. All right. But let's get this round. The absolute best we're going to do is get this 5/16 square turned to 5/16 round. And the odds of us not having, you're going to have some flat spot somewhere. But I want to keep as much shank on that tool as I can. All righty? Okay, so we've got our OD grinding done. We went in and lobbed off the end after we got it out of the machine. So we lobbed off the end, because that's where the angle cut was from the factory edge. And over on this side, you can see we had the factory edge, and we just kind of did some rough grinding by hand just to remove the bulk of the material. But what we're going to do now is we're going to take it diamond shaped like this, roll it up at a 45, and grind. So to do that, we're actually going to put it in Toolmaker's vise. I'll put a 45 with some kind of miniature V-blocks, little tiny things, so that we can put in the vise jaws angled. That way we can present the tool up and make our grind. I'll get it set up and take you over to the surface grinder with me, and we'll show you this grind. All right, stay tuned for that. Okay, here's the setup, and it's a pretty simple one. Okay, it's kind of complex. All right, we wanted to present the tool at a 45-degree angle. We wanted to roll it at a 45 diamond. You know, and all we're gonna do is drop it in the machine and just grind it sideways this way. We got a bar Z-square in the back, holding this angle block at 45. So we know this block's at 45. I got it sitting on the lip here and back here. Actually, I don't have it that tight yet. I'll take the whole thing out, and this whole thing is gonna explode as soon as I release this screw. All right, so we got our tool bit and a Z-square and a V-block. So take your Z-square, drop it into the Toolmaker's vise, hooks on the upper lip. Then you take your V-block, and it just rests on that secondary lip there. So now we know our block's at 45. And with your third hand, bring in your tool. And all you need is a slight presentation, because we're grinding side to side. We're putting the Toolmaker's vise on the thing sideways. And you don't have to crunch it down hard. You know, grinding doesn't create a whole lot of pressure. So just crunch it down a little bit, and that thing's ready to grind. All right, so that's a setup. Let's get over to the grinder and get this part finished. Okay, let's get this show on the road. Let's give this thing a quick dressy poo. And this is a pretty sharp diamond, and we're just going to give it a really coarse dress because we're going to be removing a lot of material, and the wheel's going to load quickly. Car wrench. All right. Okay, ladies, hit it. Alright, wheel's clean. Don't ever turn your spindle off after you've dressed. Never found the difference. All right. Let's get all this schmulch off of here. That might be high enough. Yeah, I'll give it a little more. Quick stone, doing good. Clean the bottom of the vise, clean. Okay. Let's just present that out in the middle, out there. And let's get out here where we can work on it. Make sure our tool's secure. Not going anywhere. Okay. Let's do a manual touch off here. There we go, car wrench. Just a tad more out on the tip. A little bit more. We got it. I think it's still missing out at the tip. We are. Okay, we need a little bit more. That's the most important part. Think she's warm? Take a little more. That's looking good. Let's go get this out of the vise. Okay, so before I take it out of the vise, I'll let you look at that profile. How that was cut. And the setup. Alright. So let's get it out of here. Alright, out of the vise. There's a quick look at your tool. And I'm going to go stone it, hone it, lap it. And I'm not going to put any back relief in back here. This tool is actually coming straight down like a plunge. And I'm not going to put any back relief in. If I think the tool's going to push or roll out, I'm relying on the center point and these sides to get a hold of it and actually pull the tool in and keep it from pushing away as it's coming out. So this shear angle and this shear angle, I'm relying to keep the tool in line with the downward force. So if I think I need back relief back here, I'll cut it. You know, if I think the tool's pushing away because of chip load and stuff here in the back. But if I don't think it needs it, I'm not going to give it to it. We'll try it. We'll go stick it over in the shaper and see how it cuts, and we'll go from there. Alrighty. What we're gonna do is take a little 320 And kind of knock these wire edges off real quick. Just on the flats, we're going to stroke it against the cutting edge. And remove any of that wire edge we got there. And then I'm going to take it on there's a 600 grit bench stone. Line up the angle and go against the cutting edge again. About 3 times. I mean, this is not like a hand grind. We've already got a pretty precision surface. And that's already removed all the grinder marks. Oh, that thing's keen. All right. Last step. A little bit of 800. Check it out here. And we'll just take that 800 just right against that edge again. Same thing. And same thing on our sides. Just making sure that wire edge is off and clean. I'm cutting into my paper. Starting to slice up my paper. Alright, nice and sharp. At the point, I think I'm going to hold it at a diamond like this and just put a small radius on it. Just kind of run it along like that, just with some 800, and just knock that sharp edge off of there. Just so that point's just not quite so sharp and keen. When this tool goes, it's going to be right out there, right at the very point. And I'll try to hold that so you can catch it in the light and see the whole thing. All right, let's go plug this into the shaper and make us a teardrop shaped hole. Okay, we got the shaper set up. I made a little arbor to hold the tool, and I'm just going to rotate it by hand. We're right in that hole, and all we're going to be doing is making a teardrop shaped hole. And I set my tool. I came down and I came up on my work, set the tool at 45, put the peak on my center line, so I'm lined up. And all I'm going to do is feed the table that direction and turn that into a teardrop shaped hole. So there's my tool profile. Hope you can see that. Let's get a bowl of lube going and fire this thing up and see how it cuts. Alright, so we got a little green goo here, and we got a brush, and I think we're ready to fire up, clear. And I'm just going to start a table in feed and let her start cutting. I'm only doing 1/2 thousandths in feeds. set it down. I want to see what that looks like. Actually, let's just go a tad more. Alright, let's bring it back to 0. Let's see, we're getting a full penetration there. Alright, that's our starting point right there. Let's get this bad boy all the way up. That looks pretty good. I didn't go deep enough. It looks fair. You need to bring the table up a little bit more. We gotta see if I'm making it all the way through with that tool. I'm gonna go to the bottom of the stroke. Right there's bottom. Take a peek underneath. Oh yeah, we're getting the whole tool out of the bottom, so it's getting a full stroke all the way up. The full knife edge of that tool. All right, let's go a little more. I'm just gonna go till that line converges a little bit. Let's fire back up and head back out. Kerchunk. And that's it. It took me out to diameter. And that's what the chips look like. They're coming out of there. You can see where they're peeling it off right out of the center, just like the bow of a ship breaking the water. So, pretty interesting. Let's get this dude up. And we'll take our part out. And see if we can take a look down that hole. Alright, I don't think I was centered as good as I could be. And that's what the hole looks like. Yeah, I didn't center it up over on this side to that side. So let's try it again over here, see if we can do better. Center my vise a little better. Bring that tool down. Bring it over this way just a bit. Yeah, my read is right on that line again. All right, well, let's just do it again. Contact. That was it. A little more aggressive on the feed there. Second attempt, much better. Don't you see that groove? The quality of the groove is good. And we hit center pretty good there. Okay. Test done. And that was a pretty good first attempt. Everything worked really good. I mean, I was pretty happy with the results. After I got the tool out, there is some evidence of it rubbing here and here. Now I've tightened the lock screw all the way down on my clapper box. That vertical shaper has a clapper box. Trying to simulate the conditions this tool will be working under. So it's going to be going straight up and straight down with no relief on the backstroke. So I'm going to give this just a little bit of back relief or draft, just with some cigarette paper on the surface grinder. Give it a slight tilt and grind just these two sides, just to give the slightest amount of relief and give a little bit of room for some lubricant to get in there and maybe stop that rubbing. But we'll grind that, and then we'll take it back over and try it one more time with the clapper box locked up tight. All right. This is a zigzag that's been folded over twice, so that's about 1.6 thou. I've measured my paper, and it is 8/10 per sheet, so that's a double stack. And see, I've got it just on the left side of the flat. I'm magged down, so I'm actually taking the tool here, so I'm making a heavier cut over here than I am over here, just to create a little bit of draft, and then we'll flip it 90 degrees and do the same on the other side. So we're going to be high over here, so let's touch off on this side. Okay, here we go. This might make it easier for you guys to see. I can see the difference, but you might not be able to. I'm going to color it with a felt pen there. Hey man, you're grinding my paper. so we're 2/3 of the way down. Another couple tenths. Almost there. All right, we got a portion of the cutting surface, but we still got that tip. I'm gonna go a couple tenths more. That should get it out of there. Not quite. All right, that takes care of that one side. Let's flip this turkey and do it again. Same drill. And you can see right there where it was rubbing pretty good out at the tip. All right, let me color that so you guys can see it. And we'll do this again. Again, we're going to be touching off over here. There it is. Okay. Yeah, it's starting to grind away the built-up edge. It's funny, there's burnished metal on the tool from where I was rubbing. You can see that shiny spot right there where the built-up edge was. Again, our nose is just a little blunt. Okay, looking good. Okay, so we're back off the grinder, and we did the tip with the cigarette paper on the two cutting surfaces here. And while I was there, I went ahead and put 4 flats in it, 90 degrees apart, that correspond with these. This is going in just an adapter. And after you've set this in the machine, just by loosening this set screw, you can index this thing on 4 sides. If you're creating a hole, it'll switch it exactly 90 degrees based on the set screw. So after this is set in the machine, you don't have to touch it again and try to reset your 90 degrees. So that's what the 4 flats are for on the tool. Let's go take it over to the shaper, and I'll cut up another piece of 3/4 and try it again, see how that works. Okay, and we got a hole, not necessarily centered, but we're gonna, this is just a test anyways. We're gonna come off the where these 2 angles converge, where this angle and this radius converge. I'm gonna make a mark here. And we're gonna do the same this way. That's going to be our absolute convergence right there, and this is the material we're looking to take out, just right here. So I'm going to mark one more. I made 2 tests, so we'll try this, and we're going to use this to line up the tip of the tool, and then we'll use this to get the tool down in the hole and clock at 45. All right. Okay, so we got our test subject end. And here's the tool we're going to use. We got our draft put into it, our back relief put into it, and we got our 4 flats. And see, this is the adapter I made. This is what plugs into the shaper. And after that's in, I don't want to mess with this anymore. If I do want to make a square hole, I want to be able to go from one to the other, to the other, to the other, and clock it 90 degrees as needed. Anyways, we're going to tighten this little guy up in here and get this set. We're only doing it one position right now. So, all right, so that's in. Let's see if we get our tool in here. And I'm clearing the part, and I'm just going to leave it loose for now. Get it over the hole. And I'm just going to rotate the shaper by hand here really slowly. Get myself lined up on the Z-hole. Okay, I think I'm good to come down. Yeah. All right, now bind it up. All right, now we're going to take a... I knew that was going to fall. Why does that always happen? Every time you drill a hole and release the chuck, loosen the chuck, the drill bit falls perfectly down in the hole, and then you can't get it out. And I know you guys know what I'm talking about. Look, it did it again. All right, let's get this back up in here. Get this little guy clocked to 45. Okay, happy there. And I'm tightening that set screw on that bushing with my third hand. And the clapper box is tight. I don't have a... I got the set screw run all the way down, so the clapper box actually can't move. All right. Yeah, I'm just going to give it a quick feel by hand. I'll be able to feel if it's dragging or anything. All right, feels good. Okay. Let's fire this thing up and see if we can come out to our limit line. I'm going to try to do it so I can see everything. I'm just going to put a little bit of anchor lube on the actual tool, and not necessarily down the hole. Let me double check that set screw. Alright, I think we're good to cut. And all we're going to do, I'm going to use the DRO and just feed in. I'm going to try to do a 0.5 thousandth per stroke. So I'm going to try to time it. I got the machine turned down pretty low, so the strokes are pretty slow. And I'm going to try to do a 0.5 thou per tick. And we'll see how that goes. I'm going to try to be able to spot my limit line. It's right there. Oh, this thing's not going to write. Right there. Trying to get some ink down in those crosshairs. Okay, here we go. I'm going to call it there. Get this up out of the way. Pretty happy with that. Let's do it again. Let's try it again on another piece. I don't feel anything got loose, so everything feels still pretty tight. I'll check the set screws again. And you could actually improve on this. These holes were just drilled on the drill press. You know, if you drilled your holes on the mill ahead of time, you could really improve on this, get a nice square hole. What we didn't do on the last one is bring it out to the point. So let's do that here. Make sure that our point's going to converge on our scribe lines. It looks like we're nailing it. You guys are looking at it sideways. I'm looking at it straight on here. But what we're looking for is that this point here is going to converge on our 245s. So we're going to hit it. All right. Side to side, we're looking good. I don't feel anything funky in there. Vise is tight. I'll double check the set screws real quick. Good there. Good there. Little mean green. And we'll zero our DRO just for grins. And contact. The table Y is locked. X is just snug, just so I don't overfeed. I just barely lifted one of the locks just a tad, just to keep some pressure. Because this is pretty much like moving an empty table. You can feel it every time the tool comes off of there. You can feel it lighten up on the cutting pressure. I think that extra leaf angle we put in there really made a difference. I like it. That tool's staying nice and shiny. I don't see any built-up edge on those two cutting surfaces. So we'll keep going and basically overcut it just to see what happens. I'm letting it cut about every third stroke. Alrighty. Yeah, we just blew way beyond our mark, but I just want to see how the tool would perform. You can see there the hole wasn't drilled center, and it just kept, I just kept trucking through it, but yeah. Yeah, see, it needed to be dialed in, so you can see where the hole converges there, and it's pretty flat there. So it needed some work. But look at the quality of the finish of the V groove. That's very nice. The hole itself could have been milled, and actually, for that matter, you could come in with a mill and clean it up and get that hole just the way you want it. But the V groove is, God, that's a nice finish. Looking down in there, pretty nice. Okay, well that's it. So there you have it. Finished hole, teardrop shaped. Probably for use as a tap handle. I don't know what he's doing with it. He just used that as an example. So, and I'm going to send you the blank that I cut with it, so you can have an example of what I did with it. And if push came to shove, I guess you can make a little tap handle out of that. Just build everything around here and drill it, form it, lathe it, and make yourself a nice little tap handle out of that. That wouldn't actually be a bad size. Maybe a little 8-incher or something, a 6 or an 8-incher. So, and I've got a couple more test pieces. My first one was here in the center. That was a fail, but I got 2 good ones here. I'll chop them up in the bandsaw, and if anybody else wants a 3/4 inch blank with the hole already made for a tap handle, and you want to build the rest of it yourself, I'll chop it up and send it to you. You pay postage, but shoot me an email. I have 2 extra available. But this is at a close, and thanks for watching, guys. Bye.